So today we're going to have some interesting talks. And first and foremost, I guess I'd like to say hello, welcome, good morning from wherever parts of the globe that you're coming from. I'd like to also take advantage and honor the original stewards of these lands, the original stewards of the planet, ask them to be with us in this moment in which we're going to have a wonderful exchange. I'm also going to say that I realize that, cell phones can keep us distracted. I have some important things that I'd like to have a conversation with you with, and so I'm going to very much ask you for your attention because I really want to be here present in the room with you and engage. Now, AI for good, we've heard about these things, we've been talking about these so far, and I guess the one thing that I want to say is that we have a very interesting dichotomy because on the one hand, we have technology that's getting better day by day, better and better tech, except that we can't outrun the plastics in the ocean. We can't override the fires. We can't somehow elevate ourselves above famine, food insecurities. And we have all this tech, but we as a humanity are on a path of self-extinction. But it doesn't have to be that way. And the biggest reason is that we have forgotten the interconnectedness amongst all things. We see ourselves as independent. Oh, well, what happens in China, who cares, because that's not in the United States, and this, that, or the other. Floods are happening. And I just came from Austin, Texas. Austin is one of my homes. A flood just washed out 700 girls that were camping. 20 of them passed away, the ages of one of my children. And so I have to say that it's something that affects me deeply. It angers me that we have the tech, but somehow we can't avoid catastrophes. We have the tech, but we can't avoid catastrophes. If that doesn't make sense, it shouldn't. It shouldn't make sense. Now, the other thing that I'd like to say is that we have pockets of people across the globe that have not forgotten interconnectedness. We have pockets of people across the globe that have not forgotten the intergenerational contract of stewardship with the planet, how to live in right relation, not seeing nature as something that we can extract or exploit from as a resource. We like using that word. But as kin, the environment is not something that is separate from us. We are part of the environment. We are part of nature. It's not something that is separate. We're part of it. We affect it, it affects us. And we have forgotten how to listen, how to be attuned to it. Sustainability is all about breaking even. That's not good enough. Sustainability shouldn't be the goal. That's long-termism. What we need to be thinking about is how do we take our tech, marry that with traditional ecological knowledge, with TEK, ancient tech, to find ways to regenerate, restore, heal. That's the goal. Be regenerative, be restorative, healing. We have large language models. It's awesome, ChatGPT. I'm a professor at UT Austin. My students love this crap. It's great. But to what extent is it great? To what extent can we avoid things like hallucinations? Anybody here asked ChatGPT a question where the answer was, I don't know? Try it. It's not going to happen. And I have tested various large language models, and I've called them out on it. I'm like, why are you lying to me? There's clearly stuff that you don't know. How many breaths did Jesus Christ take? Do you know that answer? I mean, comes up with something, which is interesting. So we have that going on. we also have detritus and junk on orbit. And one of the ways that I got into this whole thing was as a celestial steward, a space environmentalist. It's like, why do we care about these robots in the sky that we call satellites? Well, because they provide us data and information that no other source of data can give us. Gaia, Mother Earth, is like a mycelial network. It's an interconnected system of systems. When you feel sick, even though you have physicians that specialize in like throat, joints, that sort of stuff, you are a whole person. And you have to be evaluated as such. Some things that are happening in your toes might be a result of some other thing happening in your heart or something like that. But by and large, when I talk to people doing things in AI, nobody's looking at this stuff holistically. The agriculture people are just looking at the agricultural stuff. The crime people are just looking at the crime stuff. The economic people on, like, I don't know, soybean are just looking at that. How do we respect the planet and treat it as the holistic system of systems that it is? GaiaVerse, my work, my company, embraces the idea of the butterfly effect. This notion that the flapping of wings of a butterfly eventually can become a storm someplace else, that things are interconnected with each other and operating at timescales that may exceed single lifetimes. But the interconnection is there. Am I trying to predict the butterfly effect? No. I would not be so arrogant as to think that that would be in my capability, but we have ways of observing it if we embrace AI and the world that we live in such a way. So here it is, just to show you right now. Here you should be able to see nice, beautiful Lake Geneva and all these dots moving behind me. Satellites. These are satellites currently orbiting the planet. We're tracking like 50,000 of these things, ranging in size from your cell phone to the space station in different orbits. And out of those, only 10,000 are working, and everything else is garbage. Every single dot that you see is a human-made object currently orbiting the planet. Wow. 90% of that is garbage. And it's like single-use plastics. We launch something, and we leave it there until it dies, and then it's no more. Except that it is, because it keeps on being junk. So one of the things that in my travels, so I'm a Nat Geo explorer, I'm a TED fellow, I'm a MacArthur fellow, I'm also an Explorer Club 50 fellow, and a number of other things. And as such, I participate with groups of people that care about stewardship, many of them much like you in the room. And what I have found is the inability of, like, somebody who's trying to eradicate human trafficking in Nepal. They are working with a very limited set of data and information. Other people in Kenya trying to provide e-mobility vehicles to people who've never had transportation, working with very limited data. People that are trying to restore coral reefs, working with very limited data. And I want to empower you, the stewards. The whole reason that I have co-created GaiaVerse as a company is to empower stewards to do a better job. I'm not here to help everybody. Power is not the ability to control outcomes. Power is the ability to make choices. And the most powerful tend to be the ones that tell you, let me make the choices for you. Or they try to convince you that the choice is not yours to make. So we have few people making the decisions that the rest of us have to live by. Look what's happening around the world. How good of a decision is that? Not so much. I'm here to try to awaken all of you to remember your intergenerational contract of stewardship, and in that remembrance, I'm here to say, I'm here to back you up in making better choices and better decisions. Last year, we were approached by the government of Kenya. They said, hey, we want to create free trade across different countries. We have things coming in the port of Mombasa. How do we get the goods to other places? We have 2 years' worth of data in Excel spreadsheets and all this other stuff. What do we do with that? So we brought this into GaiaGraph, and so what you're looking at here is you're looking at what we call knowlecules or knowledge molecules, where the nodes are entities and the edges are relationships between things. This looks beautiful. I love looking at this stuff, but who cares how beautiful it looks? Okay, so you have this cool 3D molecule. What do I do with that? Well, I'm about to show you. In another instance, I told you that we basically, I'm part of different fellowships and different organizations. And anybody here heard of the Japanese concept of ikigai? Awesome. So Google it after. Ikigai is like the reason for being. It's trying to find the intersection of 4 sets. What are the things that you love? What are the things that you're good at? What does the world need? And what can you get paid to do? My ikigai is what I'm doing right now. I want to help you find your ikigai. So what are we doing? We have assembled the first knowledge graph of planetary stewards, and I'm just showing you a subset. Each dot here is a person. The blue dots are people. The yellow dots are groups that they belong to. The green dots are basically, again, edges and connections to things like skills, areas of expertise. Here's the other cool thing. AI so far is westernized. I don't believe in that. Because I'm a planetary kind of a dude. I'm the kind of guy that says AI needs to be inclusive. We need to have cosmovisions, not just of Western science and Western cultures. What about indigenous cultures? What about their values? What about their perspectives? What do they consider skill sets? What do they consider expertise? Imagine an AI framework that can hold space for all these different cosmovisions, that when you ask it a question, it can actually provide an answer that even though the answers could be conflicting, it gives you those answers based on the different cosmologies and value systems of different people, so that we can understand each other better, so that everything isn't collapsed into single answers, into binary yes-nos. This framework provides that. So this is several thousand MacArthur Fellows, TED Fellows, echoing Green Fellows, and we can now understand the relationship that they have with each other and who's working on things that if they just knew each other, it would amplify the sort of work. How do I link enablers with the doers? That's an amazing thing. So let's go to the actual AI agent, shall we? So right here, we have, let me just bring up here with GaiaGraph. So this is the data set of the Kenyan logistics, the truckers, the drivers, like all that other stuff. So one of the things that I want to do is I just want to say, let me just type this in here. Is there any evidence of criminal activity in the data? So this looks like something that you would just type in a chat GPT. But here's the cool thing. We use half a dozen large language models. This is our AI agent, the Seeker, and what it's currently doing is it's taking that query and it's decomposing that query into subqueries. Imagine that you have a team player. So here's the other thing. We don't consider AI as a tool. That's not what we consider AI as a partner, as a team member, as a collaborator. We treat the AI with respect, with kindness, in the same way that I would treat somebody just like you working on my team. So it's breaking down this query into subqueries right now. And what you're seeing are people in a room. The seeker is at the center of that table, and it's asking other sub-agents to go and do subqueries. The cool thing is that we have a mechanism to predict how many queries are going to be needed, what the complexity of each subquery is going to be, which large language models are best suited to answer certain queries, because we don't want to use large language models that are going to be more computationally expensive than others if you don't need to. The AI knows which ones it needs to answer the specific type of complexity, and it can reason across the graph to know which parts of the graph it needs to access at any given time. What you're seeing is not just regurgitation of knowledge. What you're seeing is reasoning actually happening right now, actually happening in real time. And agents recruiting, talking to sub-agents to go figure these things out. The other cool thing that's happening here, okay, here we go. We got a response to this query. So here's token statistics. We actually have an algorithm that basically figures out how many grams of CO2 we can actually save by doing computational efficient queries, because we realize that just doing queries contributes to climate change. So we have an algorithm that minimizes the carbon footprint of the queries as well, which you've never seen before, I can guarantee that. We also, the mathematics behind all of this is explainable, and it's imprecise probability theory, because we don't know anything. We model our ignorance. We hold various things as possible. We only reject things based on evidence. We compute things in terms of the necessity for it to explain the evidence, the possibility that it could be true, how compatible is the hypothesis with the evidence, and how surprised is any given thing, so that we can know which one is closer to the truth. And the other thing, too, is analysis of criminal activity. So here's an intro. It gives you the identification of the drivers involved. We have protected the personal identifiable information of the driver. So navigating Titanic Eagle oarsman is a real person, but we're not going to tell you his or her last name. The distribution of violations, actionable insights. This is a tool that we created for the Kenyan government that they were able to make some good use of. Here, for instance, we have stewards graph. Let's say, for instance, you want to say, okay, who are the best people to work on coral reef restoration, for instance? Or let's do this. Who are the best people to work on human trafficking within our stewards graph? So it's going to go, and it's going to decompose, and it's going to figure that out. I'm going to bring up another one. So one of the things that we're doing is we're working with global communities, trying to help people in Gaza. Out of 16,000 people that applied, who are the 150 people that we could actually provide funding to start micro businesses across Ghana? Where can we provide sanitation facilities to help minimize disease, that sort of stuff? So here with that data set, we could ask this simple question. Let me just type this thing in. And it's going to give us an answer about construction patterns of successful districts to actually improve sanitation. This query is still going on. Again, it's reasoning. So I guess what I'm saying is that imagine a framework that, and I see that, you know, I'm out of time, but I'll be around for the rest of the day. This is real. It's already deployed. We already have some customers. We're in our pre-seed round right now, looking for partners, investors. But this is already deployed. It works. And the thing is, it models the planet as a holistic system of systems. It's not just looking at stovepipe data. When you ask it a question, it's not just looking at what's the data that's in the graph. It's going out and it's finding data where it needs to, and it tells you where the data is coming from. We model ignorance within the framework. We respect, we have epistemic humility when it comes to everything that we do. We can tell you exactly where the answer came from, how it was produced, fully auditable, and you can see actual reasoning happening. This isn't just an LLM coming up with an answer. This is a suite of sub-agents that are going and they're having conversations. Some of them are coming up with answers that are no good. Those answers don't get included. At the end of the day, the seeker, which is the holistic agent, can aggregate the different responses of these queries and sub-queries, and this happens in near real time. Everything from coral reef restoration to trying to eradicate human trafficking and sex trafficking, to deployment of e-mobility vehicles across Africa, to helping the quality of life of people in Gaza, helping people you know, in Ghana, space traffic. The planet is a holistic system. We respect that. We respect the interconnectedness. And this is about solutions that are regenerative, restorative, healing, and respect the cosmovisions, not of just one population, but of the entirety of the planet. Thank you so much.